What if I told you that I had a secret that could get you everything you want in your kitchen, that could find money in your budget, that could increase your storage, that could improve the flow? Wouldn't you want to put that in your kitchen? Pantries are my secret weapon as a designer, because when you have a pantry, it frees up a whole lot of money in the budget for the stuff that shows. So you want that porcelain countertop? You want that thermidor fridge? You want to find money in the budget for it? It's in the pantry. Although pantries are the answer to a well-designed, stress-free kitchen, they are not being designed the right way. So in this video, I want to show you how to design a pantry for yourself that's going to maximize every inch of your space. It's going to take into consideration what you store in your pantry and allocate space for that. Make it so that you can see it, so you know what you have. You don't waste any space with these giant pantries with all this room that could be dedicated to a his and hers closet. It's basically required in new builds. There is always a pantry, whether it's a kitchen cabinetry pantry or a designated walk-in pantry or a wall pantry. These are the solution. They will save you so much money, so much time, so much stress, so much overbuying, so much underbuying. They're the answer to everything. Kitchen cabinets were not designed to store food. If you go out there and measure all of the boxes in your pantry, like I have. I've measured every single one of them. You want to know how deep that pack of paper towels are? I know. They don't work in a cabinet. You know this if you've ever gone looking for something. I was making tacos. Wouldn't you know? I don't have any beans. Got to jump in the car. Time to go to market. Buy the beans. Again. Come back. Reach into the back of the cabinet to get the hot sauce, and boom! Back behind it in the 12-inch deep cabinet, there's a can of beans. Kitchen cabinets weren't designed for food. Simple as that. If you would like to have a more functional kitchen, a more stress-free kitchen, a kitchen where you can see everything, a kitchen where you know what you have, you know what you need to buy, and everything's organized by the depths that they exist in, it's in the pantry. Kitchen cabinetry pantries, ones you get from the manufacturer, they're great. They have all the gadgets and whistles and pullouts and all of that stuff. That costs big money. It also costs in space. So when you're thinking about the most efficient use of your space, those cabinets aren't, because you've got the thickness of the cabinetry, the thickness of the inside box, the slides itself. So all of that starts to creep in on your space. And you've got to have pullouts because most of them are 24 inches deep. And at that depth, you're going to run into the same problems as a regular shelf. You can't see anything at the back, so it needs to pull out. And then you got to pay for it. If you go out there and you measure your stuff, like I have many times, your plates, that kind of stuff, they fit in a 12-inch deep upper cabinet, like we keep them, or a 24-inch deep cabinet if you want to go too deep. But food, cans of soup, boxes of cereal, cases of paper towels, those don't measure 12 or 24 inches deep. You get the right amount of space for the food that you're storing, and you free up money to get all those jazzy extras for your kitchen that are gonna show. Now, if you've been living in the dark ages, you probably had a pantry, because pantries have been around forever. Sculleries, butler's pantry. Do you know the butler used to sleep in there? That's why it's called a butler's pantry. A scullery is really a second kitchen. That's like getting into the Crown where they're cooking down the basement. If you have room for a pantry, whether it's a walk-in or a wall closet, or it's from your cabinet manufacturer and it's an actual kitchen cabinet box, or if you have no room for a pantry at all, stick around because I have an answer for you. It will increase the value of your home. It will improve your life. It will allow you to see everything that you have, so that when you go to the store, you know what you need. You don't buy things you already have, like another can of beans when you got 10 for $10 last week and you couldn't see them at the back of the cabinet on taco night. Pantries create a much more stress-free cooking experience because you know that you have the food. You know that you have the room to store it when you go to the supermarket. You know you can find it when it's time. Everything can be organized where it needs to be. It makes everything in the kitchen work better when it's designed right. And I don't want to hear from you minimalists that don't have any shit. I know you're hiding it somewhere. I know it's there, because the kitchen is the one place we have too much stuff. So we want to store it in a way that we can see it, we can get rid of the crap we don't need, and we don't over buy things we had, we don't run out of things that we use often, and we can take advantage of sales to store bulk items. One of the main benefits I found from my pantry, it gave me a place to hide the dog bowl and his food. This is an awesome dog station because you've got the food, you've got the treats, you've got the water bowl, and you've got the food. This is a great idea in the pantry, and it really isn't that fabulous. It's a faucet with a remnant piece of whatever your countertop is with 2 holes for bowls you can get at PetSmart. The other thing a pantry lets you do is store your recycling, and it is becoming larger and larger. I know I have 3 buckets I gotta separate stuff into. I mean, this is brilliant. And it gave me a place to hang all of my daughter's beautiful artwork that I didn't want to see in my kitchen. Magnetic chalkboard, so my kids could draw in here when they were little, could stick up school notes, artwork that I didn't want in my kitchen. So if everybody out there knows that a pantry is a good thing, why are they being designed wrong? Now, when I look at pictures, beautiful pictures on Instagram of these wonderful walk-in pantries with all of these items laid out beautifully and countertops and all of that bullshit. If you live like that, I know you have help.
Just be mindful of like decanting things and then putting them in like clear containers that look nice and function really well for you too.
For the rest of us, we have to think practically about our pantry because those beautiful jars that you see that are all filled up with flour and nuts and all of that, there's a bag where all of the stuff didn't fit that you've got to store somewhere. There's the extras that are left over that didn't fit in the pretty jar. So you've got to make accommodations for that. We want it to look pretty, but we also want it to be practical and functional. So when you buy those jars, buy them big enough to fit the whole bag so you're not storing half a bag of crap so you can have the pretty jar out. The main issue I have with the pantry design is that it's not designed for food. Food, for the most part, is going to be 3 inches deep for canned food. A box of cereal or pancake mix or rice, whatever that, is going to be 2 inches deep. It's going to be maybe 7 inches wide. A box of cereal, 3 inches by 8 inches. A pack of paper towels, 9 by 14, 9 by 11, depending on whether you buy the jumbo size. They are not 24 deep like most kitchen base cabinets that you see in a pantry. They are not 12 inches deep like most upper cabinets. So in a pantry, to be the most efficient and functional, you should have shelves that are 3 to 4 inches deep so you don't have anything stacked up. That gives you lots of room to squeeze in a pantry. So how do you design a pantry to be the most efficient, to store the most stuff in the most beautiful and organized and efficient way? Well, first of all, you got to consider what things measure that you store. A box of pancakes, 2 inches, maybe 3 inches if you bought the big one, by 7 inches. Know the sizes of things. A pack of paper towels, toilet paper, whatever you're storing in there, a bag of dog food, it goes on and on. Measure the things that you store. Measure the things that you want to buy in bulk or you want to keep on hand. And then make shelves that fit that. For smaller items like canned goods, jars, spices, 3 to 4 inches is more than enough depth for a pantry shelf for almost everything. For bigger items like a pack of paper towels or toilet paper, a case of water, those things aren't as big as you think. So a 24-inch deep shelf is going to end up with a little bit of wasted space at the front or the back. More like a 14 to 18-inch deep shelf is going to do the right job. In these pantries, you can see that the lower shelves are only about 12 inches, maybe 15 inches deep to accommodate some of the appliances. And the upper shelves are 8, 6, 4 inches. Some for spices can be as small as 2 inches deep. You can fit a pantry in between studs. So I don't want to hear you don't have enough room. You can take the space between 2 studs in a wall that has no pipes or electrical, and you can get 60 cans of storage. If you figure an 8-foot shelf, let me do the math here because this gets complicated. Let's say you got an 8-foot ceiling. The space between 2 studs in any kitchen, because you all have walls, right, is 16 inches on center. If you have an old house and it's probably not up to code, it might even be 24 inches. But let's stick with the code that I know in North America is 16 inches on center, which means you've got 16 inches in between those 2 studs to store things like cans, like spices, like oils. That'll give you a 3-inch depth. And with that, you can store up to 60 cans, 60 jars, 60 bottles of something. So 60 cans, if you figure, maybe 10 or 15 cans a shelf, 3 shelves in a cabinet. How many kitchen cabinets did you just save? You can go out and spend that money on sconces, a beautiful porcelain countertop, whatever you might want to do, whatever extras you want in the budget, you can find it by finding storage elsewhere. And we know upper kitchen cabinets for food, they just don't work. I mean, how many times am I gonna look for that freaking can of beans? So here's a couple of tips when you're designing your pantry. You wanna have a lot of shallow shelves. And now in my pantry, I had 8-inch deep shelves. That could be about 2 to 3 cans deep. When you start to stack things up, you start to lose things. So the less deep, the better. The more it's visually right in front of your face. If I can see what I have, I know what I need to get. I save time at the supermarket. I don't buy shit I already have. I don't waste money, and I can capitalize on sales. 10 for $10, I got the room. You want less deep shelves, like 6, 8, 3, 4, that's acceptable. You want adjustable shelves so that you can adjust for the height of cans versus a can of oil or a box of cereal or paper towels. You want to be able to make adjustments, and you want to store like-sized items in the same place. That way you maximize your shelves. For those of you out there that say you do not have room for a pantry, you have the tiniest kitchen, there's nothing you can do, the wall stud. You'll find lots of space there. Take an inventory of your stuff, and if you don't know what's in there, I have a free kitchen inventory in the comments. You can download that. Download your shopping list and look at the sizes of items. Get out your measuring tape. You're gonna be surprised that those items are much smaller than you think, and those deep cabinets are not doing you any good. Thanks so much for watching. Time to go to market again. Forgot the beans.